It's not just about numbers, it's a business case. BAS Cyber Protection. This is an article by Marc Petock, Vice President of Marketing for Lynxspring, read by Bruce Stimpson. As business people, we hate spending money on things that don't help our business operate better or more efficiently, perform at maximum levels, or improve the products and services we deliver to the market. And yes, we know there are necessary expenses in business that require funding. The thought of spending money on those things that are only used in worst-case scenarios are not attractive options when it comes to the allocation of our important resources, funds. They are, however, a must. So, what do? Well, we look at things such as, what is the payoff going to be? Are there risks? What are the risks and where do they exist? How likely is our business and operations going to be affected? What is the potential impact? These are questions that need to be answered, and the bottom line, we want a solid business case as to why the risk or reward to the business warrants the expenditure. We make purchasing decisions every day based upon need over want. We recognize that the failure to do so puts our company, our business, our operations, our customers, and even our fellow associates in an unacceptable position of risk. We don't like it, but we understand it. There are things that we hate spending money on, but we do so in order to protect our business. Looking at the rationale for spending money in these areas can help you make a case as to why cybersecurity prevention or protection of your building automation systems and network needs to be a priority today. For example, there's insurance. In business and in our personal life, insurance is a check that we don't want to write, but we do. We understand that protecting our critical assets against a catastrophic event is a necessity. Failure to do so would be putting our business and our operations at risk of serious harm. And when the day comes around that you need it, you're relieved that you have it. How about attorneys? Yes, I said it, the 9-letter word. While I personally respect and appreciate our attorneys and the value that they provide us, let's face it, life would be much simpler without the legal wrangling over contracts and other complicated legal issues. But to try to do it alone would be crazy. Being protected is a must, and it's well worth the expenditure to have these experts on your team. How about huge investments in dollars we spend each year on data storage, and yet we still get those annoying alerts, it seems like weekly, telling us that our email box is over the size limit, and contact your administrator. The reason we hate spending money in this area is because we know that a large percentage of what's being stored does not contain critical data tied to the success of the business. However, we can't take the chance that this data is not accessible or maybe needed in some day, so we make the additional investment. Then there's disaster recovery. Again, worst case scenario expenditure, but one that's absolutely necessary. In today's market, where we depend on data and information so much, and for it to be unavailable is something that we don't want to experience. Hopefully, you're noticing a common theme here. We don't like to spend money on these types of things, but we do it anyway. We have to, and we should. In each case, the potential cost to the business of not making the investment far exceeds making the investment. These are all critical to our business, and are necessities, not choices. While cybersecurity has always been a concern when it comes to protecting traditional systems and devices such as computers, routers, servers, and our business operations IT networks, our building automation systems, such as thermostats, HVAC equipment, access control, elevators, and lighting controls, seem to escape protection. Today, however, cybersecurity protection and prevention for building automation systems is a necessity. Building automation networks and IT networks should not be treated differently when it comes to cybersecurity and threat protection. Just like an IT network, you invest in its cyber protection, building automation networks should have multiple layers of defense and protection as well as policies and procedures that are continuously addressed. A comprehensive cybersecurity program includes a defense in-depth strategy and leverages industry standards and best practices to protect systems, devices, and the networks they run on, and detect potential problems along with the processes to understand current threats and enable timely response and recovery. Cybersecurity should be an integral part of the design of the automation system and deployment, not an afterthought. From a business perspective, the negative consequences that BAS-initiated cyber incidents can cause are disruptive and potentially catastrophic. Such events can impact occupant productivity and personal safety, disrupt critical processes, and shut down the business operations entirely. Then there's the potential of theft and loss of the intellectual property. Threats and breaches to building automation systems can be entry points into the company's network and become a pivot point that can bypass many existing network defenses. A hacker can use a BAS device as a jumping off point to get onto other devices and systems, introduce malware, viruses, and worms, or engage in other detrimental activities. The social implications can be equally as devastating, with negative publicity and loss of customer confidence, while the financial ramifications can be compounded with lawsuits and equipment replacement and repair. And there's more. While the numbers are important, it is the business case that is important and the critical role cybersecurity protection of building automation system plays in the operations of our business.